Hear about it. Talk about it now with Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 8:16. Joining me right now, political and media experts, Chris Begala, Jim McGrath from BegalaMcGrath.com. Gentlemen, welcome back to Houston's Morning News.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to both of you guys. All right, hey Chris, I want to start with you because I heard some of the comments that you gave about Craig James. You're pretty high on this guy. I mean, you ran down all of his football accolades, and you'll get no argument from me on that. But what do we know about this guy as far as being a politician?
Well, I just think, right off the bat, you got to say at least he's serious, but he's got a long ways to go. I think he brings some type of name recognition, obviously, with his amazing high school, college, and professional football career. He's, somewhat of a legend. He brings the Houston market. He brings the Dallas market because he's lived there since college, and he was a sportscaster for WFAA, a big TV station there. And, of course, his ESPN work gets him known to a certain segment of the population around the state. With that said, he has got a long way to go, and he's coming in late. And quite frankly, the way he has come in with his kind of sort of announcement from his friend, and then finally you had a quote, not to be too harsh, but reading between the lines, he's not ready for prime time yet, and he needs to get ready immediately if he wants to try to at least make a dent. And all you're trying to do is get into a runoff with David Dewhurst. That's what you're trying to do if you're in this race.
Right, and I would agree with that. And, Jim, why do you think that James waited so long to get into this race? I mean, he could have got into this thing months ago.
Yeah, that raises the immediate question about his decision-making skills, doesn't it? I mean, this is potentially, I will say probably, no, make that definitely the worst week of the year to make a political announcement. You've got the run-up to Christmas. You've got New Year's beyond this. Craig James' announcement yesterday is going to be beyond forgotten when we get into early January and he's really trying to kick off his campaign. So it's bizarre beyond bizarre. I mean, it, again, raises that question about the decision-making skills and how he's approaching this campaign.
Jim McGrath, Chris Begala, BegalaMcGrath.com, political and media experts joining us this morning. Gents, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the football being kicked around between the House and the Senate as it applies to the payroll tax cut. Also, we'll throw in a little Rick Perry there since I have these guys with me. We'll talk a little bit about whether or not he needs to do well in Iowa to continue on with his campaign. KTRH News Time is 8:22. Joining me, the experts, political media experts, Jim McGrath, Chris Begala from BegalaMcGrath.com. They just don't get any better than these two guys. All right, listen, I got two quick topics I want to talk to you about. Iowa, January 3rd, Rick Perry. Let's start with James this time. Where does he got to fall in order to continue on with his political campaign, in your opinion?
Well, Matt, I'm holding fast to the old political axiom that there's 3 tickets out of Iowa. And so Governor Perry has got to close the gap between him and that position. Some of the recent polling I've seen this week shows that he might be inching in that direction. But if he doesn't finish in the top 3, he's not going to finish in the top 3 probably in New Hampshire. And that rests all his political hopes on South Carolina. So I think if he needs momentum going into South Carolina, Iowa is where he's going to get it. Otherwise, he's done.
And Mr. Begala, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I've said all along he needs a strong third, not just a third. I think he needs a strong third-place showing. That'll increase a little bit of his fundraising. His super PAC money is all but gone. His own fundraising is very slow. It's tough, but it's all or nothing. Strong third place, he continues on. Other than that, I think it's just the time clock ticking.
All right. Now, let me ask you about this question. The payroll tax cut, of course, I think the Senate Republicans felt that the House Republicans were going to back them up on this 2-month extension, which is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. But it is now being positioned that the Republicans are holding up this payroll tax extension, and people are going to be, losing money come the first of the year. Give me your thoughts. We'll start with you, Chris. Your thoughts on where we go. Will the Senate come back, and will we have a deal done before the end of the year on this?
Just another example of just how worthless they all are. And I'm talking R's and D's. They're as worthless as bumps on a frog's butt. We saw it during the summer where they couldn't even pass, anything. And then we'll set up another committee. Let's have a 2-month extension, a 30-day extension. Ridiculous. They're both total, complete jokes, and this is another example.
And I just hate it that you always hold back. Jim, don't hold back. What are your thoughts on that?
He is always on the fence, isn't he?
Yeah.
Look, we're talking about communication strategy. The House Republicans are dealing the GOP a defeat. You've got fellow Republicans in the Senate, right or wrong. It's the perception that becomes the political reality. Fellow Republicans in the Senate calling out the Tea Party caucus, if you will, for holding this bill up. Taxes look like they're going to go up, and they can all point their finger at that Tea Party caucus. So that's a defeat for the Republican Party, communications-wise, which is what shapes the political reality.
There is a reason why they call you guys the experts. BegalaMcGrath.com is where they do business. Jim McGrath, Chris Begala. Thank you again, gentlemen, and a Merry Christmas to both of you and your families.
And to you, sir, and to your listeners.
Yeah, thanks so much. Merry Christmas to everybody.